It was about 2 years ago now when Jay-Z was crowned the world's first hip-hop billionaire by Forbes with an estimated net worth of $1 billion. That year in 2019, Jay made $81 million in earnings, and while 2020 brought on a year of decline for pretty much everyone, including some of his own investments and real estate holdings, many of Hove's core assets are still well positioned to weather the storm. Of course, Jay-Z's accomplishments are all the more impressive considering where he started from in Brooklyn's notorious Marcy housing project, where he was a drug dealer before building himself into a world-famous musician. Since then, he's earned himself 14 #1 albums, 22 Grammy Awards, and over $500 million in pre-tax earnings over the course of a decade.
They say that he has great instincts, but well on the streets, having great instincts can be the difference between life and death, not just losing the deal.
Earning that kind of dough can go a long way, and Jay-Z, well, he knows how to spend money on some of the nicest things in the world, like his art collection, which features masterpieces such as Basquiat's Mecca. Or how about his $88 million estate that he had to take out a $52 million mortgage to afford? Man, and you thought your monthly payments to the bank were bad? Being the family man that he is, Jay also knows how to treat those closest to him, and more often than not, he goes above and beyond, like that time he spent $80,000 on matching gold cribs for his newborn twins. And finally, no look at a rapper's net worth is complete without a glance at a prized car or two, and you haven't seen anything like Hove's $8 million Maybach Excelero. I promise you this. With a quick head on his shoulders, Jay-Z realized from an early age that it would benefit him greatly to build his own brand rather than promote someone else's, which is why he can afford the type of lifestyle that he has today. Whether it was his first business venture, the clothing line Rockaware that he started in 1999, or maybe the cognac business that he co-owns with Bacardi, his increasingly popular musical streaming service TIDAL, his champagne brand Armand de Brignac, or his investments in companies like Uber, JetSmart, and upscale nightclub chain 4040. His financial profile is fit for a king. In 2010, Jay-Z told Men's Health, "My brands are an extension of me. The clothes are an extension of me. The music is an extension of me. All my businesses are part of the culture, so I have to stay true to whatever I'm feeling at the time, whatever direction I'm heading in. And hopefully, everyone follows." How's it going, guys? It's your girl Azalea Hart, back at it again with a brand new video, this one digging into the rich life of Hove himself, Jay-Z. I've recently taken a look at some other popular celebrities' net worth like Rihanna and Conor McGregor, so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check those out as well. Follow me on Instagram at AzaleaZoe, and now let's get into the story. You know how we do it over here these days. First, we're gonna take a look at Jay-Z's biggest moneymaker, and like a bunch of musicians, it has very little to do with the man's art. Back in 2006, Jay-Z first debuted his own brand of champagne called Ace of Spades in the music video for Show Me What You Got. At first, Jay was simply a minor investor in the company, but 2014, he would officially become the owner of Champagne Armand de Brignac, a brand run by the Cartier family, who have been growing champagne grapes since 1763. This house only produces about 60,000 bottles of its product a year, and each is unique with the signature Ace of Spades pewter label applied directly by hand.
So the idea of the Ace of Spades that you can see here on the label is coming from one of the insignia of the French monarchy, and this is the reason why we decided to use this very distinctive shape for our label.
A bottle of Ace of Spades can set you back $300, but that's far from their priciest bottle. Signature varieties include the ultra-rare Blanc de Noir, which can retail for $850 a bottle when you can manage to find one on the market. And their third, which I pray I'm pronouncing properly because I can't speak French, Armand de Brignac's Cuvée, which first debuted in 2015 and can sell for as much as $1,000 a bottle. All of these amazingly high price points add up to a $310 million evaluation for the company, and since this is the only company that Jay-Z owns 100% of, it's his wealthiest investment at this point in time, but also far from his only one. In fact, it's estimated in total that Jay-Z has something like $220 million invested in different companies and startups. For instance, his stake in Uber is said to be worth close to $70 million. He first made his investment in the rideshare company back in 2013, purchasing his piece for only $2 million. Despite the fact that his willingness to get in at a ground floor has already paid off by bringing him back 35 times the amount he put in, the story goes that he originally wired a further $5 million to the company to increase his holdings even further before founder Travis Kalanick sent them back, saying thanks but no thanks. Beyond Uber, Jay has also invested money in companies like JetSmart, which is basically Uber but with private planes. And he also owns 4040, the upscale sports bar and nightclub in Manhattan. Owning his own nightclub means that champagne isn't the only alcohol that Jay-Z has invested in over the years. There's also Douce, his very own cognac brand that was a joint venture between himself and the liquor giant Bacardi. The brand moves almost 200,000 cases a year and has managed to increase its profit margins by 80% each fiscal year thanks to how well Jay-Z resonates with the consumers of the product, who, of course, are attracted to his ultra-premium lifestyle. At present time, it's estimated that Jay-Z's holdings in the brand is worth $100 million. And how many musicians can say they own their own streaming service? Not many. In fact, pretty much the only investors in TIDAL can lay claim to that fact, and Jay-Z was the mastermind behind it all.
I spoke to a lot of different people outside of the industry, and everyone was like, what took so long? This thing was the thing that everyone wanted and everyone feared. If these artists could sit in a room together, the game changes forever. And it happened today.
In 2015, he bought out a Scandinavian streaming service for $60 million. He then teamed up with other artists like Kanye, Chris Martin, and of course his wife Beyonce to relaunch TIDAL a year later. At this point in time, TIDAL is estimated to be worth somewhere around $600 million, and Hove's own investment in the company sits somewhere around $100 million. We're inching our way closer to Jay-Z's bread and butter, the music he makes, but before we get there, let's take a look at his wide-ranging entertainment company that he started over a decade ago, back in 2013, Roc Nation.
I think the internet is a way to bring it back, just a touch. Not to have a self-plug, but that's why I left outside of the system of the music business to have the freedom to build artists and take 2 years. And it takes time for people to find themselves and find their voice and know what they want to talk about.
Having been a part of the hip-hop scene since the early 90s, Jay knows how crucial management and representation can be in the business of celebrity. So he teamed up with concert giant Live Nation to create this agency that represents some of the top stars in the world of sports and entertainment. Names like Kevin Durant, Todd Gurley, Rihanna, and J. Cole, to name just a few. Speaking of the music business, ever since he started his own record company, Rockefeller Records, back in 1995, Jay has taken care of his own business endeavors, never allowing himself to be taken advantage of in an industry that is ripe with such stories. For instance, Jay negotiated the return of his master recordings from Def Jam, and in a separate deal with EMI, found a way to regain his publishing rights too. In a world where Jay's music often gets close to 1 billion streams annually, that's a whole lot of cheddar coming his way because of his refusal to be someone else's meal ticket. Back in 1995, his first album, Reasonable Doubt, sold 1.5 million copies in its first year. And as of this date, he sold over 100 million albums worldwide, with every single album he's ever released having gone platinum. After buying himself out of his contract to Def Jam for $5 million in 2009, he turned right around and signed a deal with Live Nation that he recently extended in 2017 with a 10-year edition worth $200 million. Today, his music catalog is estimated to be worth as much as $75 million annually. Finally, let's take a look at Jay-Z's first investment, a clothing line he created in 1999 called Rockaware.
So I was like, maybe I could just start my own thing, start my own clothing line, make it the right fit, just baggy enough for everybody and the right style. And once that idea started, it was off, man.
Only a year after its creation, Rockaware was generating somewhere around $50 million in revenue annually, and at its peak, made $700 million in one fiscal year. By 2007, Jay had sold the rights to the company to Iconic's brand group for $204 million, but he still maintains a small stake in the company and is heavily involved in the marketing and development. But what's the point in making all this money if you aren't going to spend it, right? So let's take a look at how Jay-Z spends his billions, and let's start with his art collection. In the song Picasso Baby, Hova raps about having a Basquiat in his kitchen corner, and honestly, he probably wasn't kidding. For over a decade, Jay has been scooping up masterpieces like Jean-Michel Basquiat's Mecca, which he purchased in 2013 for a reported $4.5 million. Did you hear me? $4.5 million.
Well, most kings just happen to be inspired by a Basquiat drawing, the drawing, and he had most young kings get their head cut off on the bottom. And I looked at that and I was like, it's powerful. Just the statement in itself
lends itself for a song.
An avid art collector, that's far from the only piece that Hova has rapped about in his songs, and he also owns numerous Damien Hirst pieces along with Shepard Fairey and Andy Warhol selections as well. The extent of his collection is unknown at this time, but the total value is said to be somewhere in the 70 million range. Next up, let's take a look at Hova's real estate holding. Not surprising at all, he owns a lot, including a $26 million home in East Hampton and a $6.85 million penthouse in Tribeca. There are even rumors that he and Beyonce spent $4 million on their own private island in the Bahamas. But for my money, I'm gonna say the nicest home that Jay-Z owns is his newest, an $88 million estate that he bought in 2017, located in Bel Air. So there's a new Fresh Prince of Bel Air in town. This insane 30,000 square foot home was so expensive that even two people as rich as Jay-Z and Beyonce had to take out an eye-popping $52 million mortgage to afford it. With numbers like that, it's likely that they are paying around $250,000 a month for a house that includes a full basketball court, 2 acres of land, a 15-car garage, media room, multiple pools, and let me just double check something here. Yep, bulletproof windows, just so something like this never happens. Of course, when you've got a house that nice, you've got to furnish it with something equally as glamorous, and Jay-Z never spares any expense. Like, ever. Don't believe me? Well, check out the $80,000 gold cribs that he bought for his twins, Rumi and Sir, who were born in 2017. And that wasn't all. He also bought a diamond-encrusted gold pacifier to go along with them, just to double what he spent on the cribs. I mean, how is this even a thing? Apparently, it also doubles as a brooch. So maybe it was more like a gift for Queen Bee. One thing's for sure, it takes the phrase born with a silver spoon in your mouth to a whole new level, doesn't it? Finally, with a 15-car garage at just one of Hova's homes, you know he owns some of the nicest cars in the world. But since we're running along, let's take a look at the nicest car in his collection, and without question, it's this ultra-rare $8 million Maybach XLero. This is the most expensive one-off production car ever made. Previously owned by Birdman, the XLero was seen in Jay's music video, Lost One, and Jay fell in love with it so much he just had to get it for himself. I mean, the damn thing looks more like the Batmobile than any other car I've ever seen, so yeah, I can see why he wanted it. Alright guys, I think we're gonna bring this story to an end right here. It's been a pretty remarkable career for Jay-Z, not only in terms of his artistic success, but his business ventures as well. As Swiss Beats once mused to Forbes, Jay is a billionaire now. Imagine what he's about to be, because he's only just starting. Honestly, the guy couldn't be more right. Where will Jay-Z and his bottomless pit of wealth go from here? We can only wait to find out. Let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments down below, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at BeforeTheyAreFamous. Follow me too at AzaleaZoe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.